Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
We'll give a few moments to let people trickle in, but I will go ahead and switch over to the PowerPoint. All right. You can see the transcript. Perfect. All right. And we'll go ahead and start off. As usual, I will begin with the land acknowledgement. So hello, everyone. I'm in West Olympia, the traditional lands of the Coast Salish people, including the people we know today as the Nisqually, Squaxin Island, and Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation. I honor their ancestors and leaders who have been stewards of this land and water since time immemorial. We acknowledge their stewardship, their forced removal, and their continued fight to live on their ancestral lands. And so we'll begin with introductions. My name is Ashley Bell. I go by she, they pronouns, and I'm the Behavioral Health Program Coordinator and also the lead implementation for this health equity continuing education bill. And with this, I'll go to Ross. And Ross, you're muted if you're talking. Still no words. All right, well, we'll go to Dan. Dan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi there, everybody. I'm Dan Frank. I work in the Office of Health Professions under HSQA, and I am technical support for this meeting and to help out with any Zoom issues. The one thing that you're going to notice in the meeting itself, if you do want to participate or to speak, all you have to do is hit the hand raise button and your hand will be raised, and then Ashley will call on you. And then after you're done speaking, you could go ahead and lower your hand by hitting that same button. Very intuitive and very easy. If anybody has any questions, you can put it in the chat and we will troubleshoot. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Ashley, very much. All you.
Thank you. And then let's take this opportunity. If I didn't call on you, just go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat, and then we'll go full steam ahead. Today, we have our last planned workshop that's scheduled. And if we feel like we may need another one, we'll go ahead and talk about that later on today. So some other reminders, today we do not have ASL interpretation. So we made sure that the closed captioning was turned on. And if you need further help translating, please contact me and I will help you to my fullest availability or connect you with someone that is able to help. System meeting reminders. Be mindful and respectful for all of those that attend. And as Dan described, please raise your hand to speak. We'll call on you to share. And other than that, please keep your mic muted. Also, be aware of the time that you're using when speaking. If there's a lot of people who want to share, if you can just keep that in mind and limit how long you take up this space. And then please stay on the topic of health equity. We're focusing on developing these draft rules, and hopefully you'll be comfortable enough to share some of the thoughts you have, especially with this particular draft. And then we talked about navigating Zoom already. So we'll talk about a little bit of health equity. And just a quick recap, in Girl Substitute Senate Bill 5229 was passed by Washington State Legislature in 2021, and it requires that healthcare professionals must take continuing education on health equity every 4 years. And so what we're working on is this model rules, which Secretary of Professions would also be held to. And so those model rules have to be developed and in place by 1/1/2023. And then by July 1st, 2023, we need to identify at least one free training program that meets those minimum standards. Professions must adopt and begin training on this health equity continuing education by 1/1/2024. And so the goal of this is to help providers think about their own impact on others and hopefully change the way providers work with others so that they can reduce health inequities. I do also want to say in this that this bill has a pretty big lift, and that we need to make sure these model rules, these minimum standards, can apply across all professions that have a continuing education component. And so with that, Ross, if you want to take over, I'll stop sharing, and then we can go over the draft rules. All right. Now, while Ross is pulling this up, I did ask since we last saw each other, I asked some of the program managers, what is the feasibility in opening up your rules? Also,